Well, hello there again, boys and girls. And I blink, and then another week goes by. I swear, I think time's accelerating, especially as you get older. The years just seem to click off quicker and faster and faster and faster. Speaking of that, a whole nother year's clicked off on me because today is my birthday. So if y'all go easy on me today, I'm going to shoot out of here early. But hey, if you want me to stay the whole 30 minutes, that's what I signed up for, and that's what we can do. So as usual, let's swing around and look at whatever I may have missed last week. All right. Alberta bound. I accidentally put Castrol 10W40 engine oil in my Grizzly instead of the Jasco standard. Will this hurt the wet clutch? I haven't ridden it far. As long as you get it out of there quickly, you shouldn't have any problem with this, especially on a Grizzly. That is a very robust internal clutch, so you shouldn't have any issue with that. I would recommend putting in just conventional oil, running it around a little bit, drop that out, and then put in your oil of choice. For me, for that particular unit, I kind of like the Yamalube semi-synthetic. I think that comes in the silver bottle, if memory serves. Food Street Rider had asked me, hi, I am from Pakistan and I ride a 150cc Suzuki bike. Company writes in their manual to use the G10 oil for fork. Problem is that company doesn't have the oil, nor do we. In Pakistan, we got SAE 10. Is that the same as G10? And no, SAE is your standard for regular motor oil. So that's going to be, that 10 weight is going to be a whole lot different than the oil that you're going to put in your fork, which is usually somewhere either 5 or 7. 10's a little heavy. I would say go for the fork oil standard of a 7 for a 150. You ought to be fine with that. Randy Kincaid had asked me, just watch your Rancher 420 no start video. I've tried everything you said, and the solenoid clicks, so I figured it was bad. So I got a new solenoid, put it on, and it clicks the same as the original one. Could it be a bad starter? Yep, that's what's going on. It's appears to be sending power to your starter if you check that with a test light, although sometimes that can be deceiving if it doesn't make a good contact in there. But the chances of you having 2 bad starter solenoids in a row is very, very remote. So I think you've found your own solution. So afraid it's time to order another starter. That's unusual for a Honda. Those things, they're usually they last forever. Antonio Hollins had asked me, I have a 2006 Suzuki GSX R600. I turn my key, power lights come on, and I can hear the fuel pump, but it won't start or crank. Any ideas? Well, there's a couple. For that particular situation, it's probably a sensor or a contact on the bike that's telling it not to turn over. Fairly certain on the Gixxer, there's 2 conditions that have to be met. One, the kickstand has to be up. I'm fairly certain about that. And second, your clutch has to be pulled in. And I think that particular contact or switch is on the clutch lever itself. So I'd check those two areas and see what you find. I bet you it's going to be the clutch perch saying it's not pulled in. Kind of an odd thing about Suzuki's. I don't know why they do that. As long as it's in neutral, let it start. But hey, they didn't invite me on that design meeting, so what do I know? Let's see if we're getting a few people lined up over there. A couple. I'll still stay on my questions over here. Then I'll come back to you. JG in Europe, I'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. Ralph Williams had asked me, another 600. I took my CBR 600RR into the shop to have all fluids changed and just do it once over to make sure it's ready for next riding season. Smart man. It overheated 4 miles from the shop. I put a new battery in it and got it home. Started it up today, and as it got up to temp, it died out. and the fan never came on. What am I looking at? And do I risk taking it back to the shop? I've overlooked whatever issue it is. It sounds to me like when they changed out your radiator fluid, they didn't purge the air out of it. So you've got a pretty severe air pocket in there. And that does two things. One, it's going to make the machine overheat. Two, if you've got an air pocket, the sensor that tells the fan to turn on, it's never coming up to temp either. So it's a compounding problem. One, it's overheating, and two, the fan's not even going to turn on to attempt to try to cool it down. I would say drain out your fluid and let's try it again. And I'm fairly certain I did the procedure. It wasn't on it may have been on the 600 that we had like 6, 7 years ago, where I did a fluid change on it. But just make sure that you get all the air out of it, because evidently the shop failed to do that. Sorry you're having to go through this, Mr. Williams. Oh, and that catches me up for last week. So we'll switch over back to our questions. Not many this time. That surprises me. JG is asking me, hi, John, from England, UK. Glad to make the live chat again. Well, glad to have you online as well. Europe is asking me, ATV 250 gear noise when after full race the engine. After the gear sleeping noise come. I check gear pinion and no damage. Now what do I do? All right, so it sounds like you ran the machine hard and you're getting a weird sound in your pinion gear. So I assume it's a utility type machine, and you're probably talking about either the rear or the front differential. If it's making that kind of noise, I would suggest, of course, draining it out and changing the fluid to whatever the manufacturer's spec is on your machine. When you drain it out, that's going to tell you the tell right there. If the oil is black, if there's not much in there, or if it's got that nice milky substance, that tells you water's gotten into it. Because when the seals fail on a differential, and I'm assuming that's what's going on with your machine, one of two things happen. Either the oil comes out, or water and other things come in. So either one of those two occurrences is not what you want. All right, y'all, let me silence that. My Skype chat is blowing up. All right, Stephen, I'll answer that later. But if you determine what's going on in there and you do need to refill it, and either water got in or the fluid got out, you're not addressing the root cause, and that's going to be a leaking seal. So until you straighten that out, if it is savable, you're going to end up having to replace those seals. So good luck. Let us know where you end up. All right, I can't make out that name there, but hey, when I adjust chain tension, I measure it, but my bike is on the rear stand. But when I take it off back to the side stand, the chain gets tighter. Just want to know which measurement is the right one. I'm pretty sure all the manufacturers want the machine to be sitting down. So that's with the suspension loaded to get an accurate chain measurement. I mean, everyone I've ever done that, they want it usually to be actually up on the held by the front wheel and sitting vertical, especially a motocross bike, because they're so dependent upon that because there's such a wide range of travel. But yeah, it's a natural occurrence on a machine when the suspension comes up. It actually tightens the chain. So that's why it's important to get the correct slackness in there set to the correct spec, because the street bike's can have a much different setting than a motocross bike, because let's face it, most street bikes have 5 inches max travel. A modern motocross bike has 12 to 14. So big difference there. To help you get the slack set correctly, Motion Pro has a little slack setter tool that is really it's a neat design, and it'll have repeatable results over and over again. It's really easy to use. So you may want to check out our site and pick up one of those. And I'm pretty sure I did a how-to video on operating it. So pick you up one of those and set it to whatever slack that the manufacturer recommends. Otherwise, One of two things: you're going to derail a chain or throw a chain, or you're going to break a chain. Not that I've ever had both of those happen to me over my career. Paul Kravinsky, oh, no good to overheat. We had the same thought wave. Yep. Craig West, after changing brake pads, what should I use to scuff rotors? Thank you. If you're going with the same brake pad compound, you shouldn't really need to do anything to your rotors because they're already bedded in, so to speak. But if you are changing the compound, then yes, you need to scrub your rotors. And what I would use for that is probably one of those. It's the green. I think that's the pretty aggressive one. Green Scotch-Brite pad and just regular brake contact spray. Combination of those two things should clean off the surface well enough to where it'll bite into those new brake pads. Paul's coming back. So, John, have you ever had to replace the rotor and one-way clutch bearing and the gear at the same time? I had them send a partial shipment because I feel my rotor is okay. Most time I would. It's two separate problems, so I would always just have to do the rotor. I didn't have to do a clutch bearing at the same time. But yeah, you have to open it up twice, it sounds like. And then Paul said, if you had, what was the reason you replaced all three parts? Thanks. No, I haven't had to do all three at the same time. It was, in my opinion, they're different aspects of the engine. Europe, two-stroke engine when piston in top dead center, at this time, CB point is close piston or open position. You're losing me a little bit there, Europe. If you have a stock engine coming around at top dead center, at this time, I don't know what CB point means. So you'll have to fill me in on that, and then I could probably answer it. Chris Sara, dude, did you see me riffing on that machine that you helped me out with? Pretty cool of your team to do that. Yeah, I did. I saw that yesterday. Michael, one of our talented editors, put that together, but you gave him some good footage, so it made it easy. I'm super envious of where you get to ride. That the dunes where you are is stunning. I'm jealous. Chris came back. Now that the 450 is good, the 660 is some deal with gearing in the sand. I get that. I noticed that I can't hold any gear, but first climbing in the dune, what sprocket would change and what would you should 8 make? All right, the 660, I thought that was a shaft machine. Or are you talking about changing the weights inside of the centrifugal clutch? Chris came back. I don't care about racing and going fast, but I do want the wheel speed and slide a lot. In sand, that's all. It's all about the wheel speed. But yeah, I thought I'm thinking of a 660 Grizzly. You're talking about a 660, one of the older Raptors. If you change, instead of changing your rear sprocket, just change your front one, I'd say. So if you want to increase the speed, wouldn't you go up a tooth? Yeah, change your primary one up one tooth and see what that does. So that would probably be the equivalent of making a change by 6 or 7 in the rear. So change the front one and see what it does. Craig West came back. How well I know the rotors have been scuffed enough. Thank you, sir. You really can't because I can't personally see the bedding that goes on a disc, except for the color change. It has that kind of a purplish blue haze to it once they're really bedded in, especially on a car. But I'd say if you spent 5 minutes on either side or on each disc with that pad, that should do it. All right, since I've caught up with y'all, I want to bring something to your attention. I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, but we've got what we're calling a mystery box contest. So what we're doing is if you head over to our Instagram page and find that post where I'm introducing the first 4 winners or shipping out the first 4 winners, go in that chat and tell us what you would want us to send you that would fit in this box. Now, don't give me something crazy like, all right, I want a gold wing. Well, that ain't going to fit in there, and we're not going to spend that much. But we are giving away some really cool stuff. So head over there and tell us what you would want to have in your mystery box. And it's somehow or another, it's fallen on my shoulders to choose the potential winners. So I think we had like 160 entries just yesterday or the day before, and we picked out 10. So that gives you the ratio that I'm going with. The ones that seem most interesting to me, well, you're going to end up with a mystery box. So head over there and man, a piece $1 million. Me and you both, dude. I'll let you know if I win the lottery this weekend. But yeah, head over there to our Instagram page, find that post, and then just leave a message as to what you would want to see or what you'd want to get in your mystery box. Up there you go. And my Partzilla team just dropped a link in the chat. So there, you've got no reason not to go over there. All right, kids, y'all gonna let me get out of here this easily, this quickly? It's gonna be a good weekend. Going out to dinner with my girlfriend, a couple of friends. Then tomorrow, having a engagement party for my son and his soon-to-be wife. They're getting married in April. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe for me. Just feel old-ish. How old am I? 8 in dog years. So that makes me what? 57? And I'm high mileage. All right, kids. Well, if that's all you've got, then I'm going to pack up and head to the barn. So once again, thanks everybody for coming by, spending a little bit of time with us. And God willing, if I survive tonight and tomorrow night, we'll get together and do this again Friday at 3. Y'all good with that? So come up with some questions, shoot them in, and we will see you then. Y'all take care.